Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Lower Decks episode of Hidden Pockets. Unfortunately, Daniel is not able to be here today, and George will be gone for quite a bit as he is having a new adventure in the West Coast. Joining us here today is Carlos, who today will be filling in for both George and Daniel. Say hi, Carlos.
Hello, Carlos.
And so, for today's topic, we're going to talk about something that is kind of relevant today, and it's video games. Because I know that the new Switch 2 came out, and I do want it myself, but, money is money, and don't have the money to pay for a Switch 2 right now. But one of the hottest games for that system right now is the new Mario Kart World. And there's some crazy things you can do. One of them is that there's like these trucks that character can go into, and then they can control the trucks and they can like ram into all the vehicles and like cause general mayhem in general. Stuff you don't expect in a Mario Kart game, but things you probably expect in a GTA game. And so that brings me to what I want to talk about, which is what's your favorite video game, racing or otherwise?
All right, so I want to interject. Oh gosh,
The tombstone has finally come for you.
I did not say die.
Oh, yes, I
You
did.
just did.
Dang it. Okay,
Alright.
I want to say. So my favorite video game is Assassin's Creed, and it comes with a funny story on how I got into Assassin's Creed. So prior to playing the games, I actually didn't like history at all. Like that was my least favorite topic. And then I saw the trailer for Unity, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool." And then I found out it's Assassin's Creed, and I'm like, "Oh, Assassin's Creed, pretty cool." So I start to ask my dad if I could get the game, and my dad was very heavily against Assassin's Creed because like he was one of those kinds of guys that thought that Assassin's Creed is just like you killing people for the sake of killing.
Ese juego es del diablo.
Yeah, but like he thought it was like another GTA kind of situation, but then oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in so much trouble with this. But behind his back, I bought Assassin's Creed Unity from a friend of mine, and when I played the game, I actually started to love history. And then I remember one day my teacher looking at me like, David, I see you, in class, always on your drawings, always so distracted. How are you passing? Are you cheating? And I tell my teacher, nah, I'm just playing Assassin's Creed. and honestly, after Unity, I played the other games, and my experience with Unity wasn't that bad. There are some people that say Unity's like the worst game. Unity is so bad, but like when I played Unity, it really wasn't as bad as I thought people said, and maybe it's because like by the time I bought the game, it was already like patched up as it is now. But like I did get a chance to play the other games, but still to this day, Unity's like my favorite Assassin's Creed game, and it was my first game to play. Um, and I love the games, and now I love history. I don't dislike it.
Wait, so then how do you tell the real history in the game from the fake history in the game?
I did the one thing I enjoyed but didn't like doing in school. I read. But like teachers didn't know that. And also like when I took tests, prior to reading history books, I just used my common sense and be like, ain't no way, a piece of Eden exists, so this has to be the answer.
Did they ever ask you in school like, all right, so who started the Boston Revolution, so who started the Boston Massacre, and you put like one of the characters from Assassin's Creed?
No, I didn't do that.
So yeah, I didn't learn like my history from like playing video games. Like I like to learn my history mainly from like the music I listen to and whatnot. Because I like to listen to a lot of like mid to like late 20th century music, like Beatles, Elvis, Michael Jackson, those kinds of artists, and some smaller, more obscure artists. And and when I listen to their music, I like to like learn about how like the how the production was made, and the historical context behind some of the songs, because songs also do have historical context.
Mm-hmm.
And then I apply that to my general knowledge, and use those facts to tell people about it and do well on exams, even though unfortunately for me 20th century history wasn't really big in my school. Sure, we learned about it, but it was more like a footnote. I think we're straying too off the topic, so I'm going to talk about my favorite video game, which is Super Mario 64. Sure, it's not the most modern of games, and it's not like an M-rated game, which I know some of you guys are into. But I honestly think it's like a fun game where you get to explore a three-dimensional world as Mario and beat up enemies, and and I like it because it was like one of the first games I've ever played. Well, first I played like the DS remake that came out during the time when the Nintendo DS was out, because I was one of those Nintendo DS kids, and then afterwards I kind of became interested in playing the original game because I started seeing videos on it on YouTube. I'm like, man, this looks pretty amazing. If anything, it looks better than the DS remake, even though the DS remake is pretty good in itself. And then, and then eventually, it took a little bit, but eventually I first played the game at one of my friends, well, former friends' place, and I thought it was amazing. Like, you guys know what an N64 controller looks like.
Yep.
No.
You'll put in the video.
Out.
No, but it honestly felt like pretty cool, like to like control the analog stick, especially when you go up. Mario runs,
Mm-hmm.
and it just felt like so cool, like running around as Mario freely. Now I know there's some more advanced games now where you get to like explore like a more open world, like Assassin's Creed, where you get to go all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not limited to like just like a certain area or whatnot. But still, the game I love going back to over and over again. Every year, at least, I try to beat the game again every single year.
I kind of feel that way about Assassin's Creed Unity specifically, Chris. I mean, I played the other games, like I said, but like Unity has more of my attention than the other games do, and to like right now, as to how many times I've played that game, I kid you not, I'm like I've become Batman in that game, because like no one can hit me anymore. Like, you know how certain games have like a life system, like you get hit once or you get hit twice and then you lose health,
Yep.
or you just automatically die or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
But in my case with Unity, it took me 2 years to be so fluent with its combat system that I'm just not getting hit once at all. Like it's very rare when you actually catch me getting hit or dying in the game. Like I've just become that good, and that just kind of shows how many times I've replayed that game over and over. Like I just like that game a lot. And any other games I can think of that I play often would be Dead by Daylight or.
Oh, that's a good one. It's always fun watching you play that one.
Dead by Daylight is one. Spider-Man's another one, but more specifically the first game. And then recently I've gotten into some Tom Clancy games. Like I just started playing Breakpoint, so that's pretty fun.
Even blind people play video games. There is I don't know how big it is because I'm not necessarily a big gamer myself, but I do know that there are some blind people out there that do play video games and are very good at it. Some of them have YouTube channels as well. But growing up, I know that I had cousins that would play like a lot of racing games and stuff like that. So I would sometimes play with them doing that. But one of my very first video games that I played and really enjoyed was Grand Theft Auto. When I started playing Grand Theft Auto, I think it was Grand Theft Auto 8. Or sorry, not even that.
Yeah,
far.
the 8's not even out yet.
Bro, it's gonna be like 2099 by the time GTA 8 gets released.
I don't know about that. GTA 6 is coming out next year, which is great. It's been like over a decade since Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. But basically, Grand Theft Auto 4 came out in 2008, and I was like around 9 or so when it came out, and I thought it was the funnest thing ever. I thought it was so great that you could get into a car, go do whatever you want, blicky people in the head, run them over, and you know how YouTube is and stuff like that.
Oh no.
It was always fun doing stuff like that, you know, because obviously in real life you can't necessarily just break into a car and take it without any consequence, or go around unaliving people without both spiritual and real world consequence, you know. But at least, you know, in a fake world, you can do whatever you want, and nobody can do anything about it because it's just a game. It's fiction, you know. It's not reality.
Well, except the cops in the game that gave you a friggin' 5 stars.
Yeah, for real. Oh god, 5 star? No, 6 stars in Grand Theft Auto 4 was impossible. Always impossible to escape. But and especially because like the what's it called, the wanted radius in that game, it was so large. It would take up like half of the map.
Oh
So it was
my gosh.
basically impossible to like escape. Even if you were to run through like the subway tunnels and stuff like that, they would still be looking for you.
Oh
and,
gosh.
And when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, it was such a big change because first of all, it looked more realistic than ever. But Grand Theft Auto 5 was so incredible because it takes, well, obviously like each game takes place in a different city and stuff. But for me, I've always enjoyed like the California setting in Grand Theft Auto because it's just so like, there are different terrains. There's like mountains and stuff to explore, rivers and all that stuff that some of the other games don't have. And what I always enjoyed about Grand Theft Auto 5 was the subway, like the streetcar surface running subway, and then of course you had to go down into the original, you know, traditional subway type thing. But it was always fun to like run there, you know, pew pew, and then run away from the cops by getting into the subway cars and riding away basically. And then there would also be times where me and my brother we would basically, because they also have a train, like a cargo train that rides through the city as well. They do like street running and all that, and they also go through the countryside. It was always fun to get on the train cars and just start, you know, random.
Quit
cars.
censoring yourself. Just say it.
Grand Theft Auto is a very huge open world, and you know, they have a pretty. It's basically like the real world, so they have all sorts of different places. And one of the places that was always fun to go mess around with was a certain club. And you would go in there, and you know, you would start pew-pewing all of the people inside, and it was always so fun just to see the reactions of the people in there, and then have like the police come in and try to see how many you could take down before you get taken down.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? I don't like this. All these games are based on the dark side of life.
I got a knife. The knife, you're closer to the victim. It's more personal. I hit a woman for the first time in my life, and I'm having fun.
Here comes the guy, kill the guy.
You define everything that's wrong with
There
this
you go.
place.
Shoot him again if he's not dead yet.
I can just kind of like, I just can kind of see a blind man like Carlos just, you know, pulling up a gun and be like,
I got a gun. Where's the person?
Probably point at a tree. So, Carlos and David, believe it or not, there is a kid-friendly version of GTA. It's called...
oh, I need to hear this now. How is this possible?
It's actually a pretty good game. I actually enjoyed playing this game a lot during my freshman year. at BYU. It's a game called Lego City Undercover.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
But instead of, playing as a criminal and, actually causing actual damage, you play as an undercover cop who has to stop like a major criminal named Rex Fury from destroying Lego City and whatnot.
Okay.
And so the way it's similar to like GTA is that like it's an open world map, and you also get to like take people's cars. Unlike criminal work, you take their cars in the name of the law. Like if like let's just say like there's someone driving the car, and you enter their car. The main character, whose name is Chase McGinn, he's like, "Sorry, police business." Or I'm gonna need your car, and then like you could just drive like as recklessly as you want, and then he also be saying stuff like, "I'll come back and give you my insurance later," like when you bump into a car, or that's gonna leave a dent.
Oh my gosh, I'm just saying that's a much more polite way than what GTA does.
GTA is better though.
I never played GTA, nor will I probably ever, so I will never make the comparison. But you can, Carlos, for sure. All right, I think we spend way too long on video games, but we also spend a lot of time on our screens as well. I mean, we're also kind of hypocritical here because you're probably watching us on the screen right now.
That's a fact.
Shame.
But we want to talk about something very important to like our generation today, and that is moderating screen time because it's been shown in many studies that excessive screen time is not good for us. And also looking at your phones for way too long can cause a lot of health problems, mental health problems and whatnot. I mean, I struggle also with, moderating screen time.
Like sometimes moderating.
Yes, I said moderating.
You said moderating.
Oops. And so I'm here to pose the question of like, what do we do to monitor our screen time? Because for one, sometimes I go on my phone, well, for what seems like 10 minutes, and then it turns to like 2 hours, and I'm like, dang, I wasted my life.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours of my life looking at my phone for stuff that probably won't matter in my life. And so I'll actually answer the question first. So, for me, a good way I try to moderate screen time is go outside, read a book. Now, immediately I should do better at this, but sometimes I will just grab a book that I rent out from the library, go outside by the pool side or by the pool area of my apartment, just read a book.
I don't know why, but I can hear Daniel's voice saying, "Chris, you don't do that."
Never seen it. Stop the phone. It's a good way to get your mind off, the screen. And then I also like to do fun activities as well. Like I like to plan activities where we go outside, and one of those activities, and I've planned this already one time and it was successful, is Ultimate Frisbee. I mean, I like Ultimate Frisbee. I remember the first time I played it. I played a game Ultimate Frisbee, which was back in I was in 6th grade when I started really getting into Frisbee, and it's a good way to relax yourself, throw a disc outside. It's not as violent as like football or like soccer, where you're just like, okay, well, football's more violent than soccer. Oh my god! But Ultimate Frisbee is a good way to get to know your friends better, and to play in a competitive setting that's also not very violent, and a good way to get away from your screen.
I kind of am guilty of not doing it most of last year. Well, not many people know this, but a family member of mine passed away, and that took a heavy toll on me. And it took a very heavy toll because when I should have been working or when I should have been drawing or doing more productive things, I was on my phone just wasting my life away on YouTube or social media. And then eventually I got over it, and then I started doing more outside activities. I started meeting more people. I started opening myself up to people, at least the ones I trusted. And then, but nowadays, I'll be honest. This week I have not been doing the best at it, but even then, I still do my best to keep myself productive and keep myself going outside. I don't necessarily do much outside unless I'm like with some friends. I mostly just walk or just find a good spot to sit on, but that's about it. I don't do nothing else. I'm not really into sports, but I do try to do other kinds of activities. And if friends invite me to, play pickleball or do some basketball or baseball, I would do those things, even though I'm not good at it. And most of that does keep me out of my phone. But I am guilty of being an artist, and sometimes I have to be on my phone if I'm doing digital art. So it's times like that where I know I'm on my phone, but I can, get off it. And even then, I prefer traditional art over anything else. But I do think that we as human beings need to be careful and moderate on how we manage our time on our phones, and if we're on our phones for too long, we should literally put a limit to I know some people do this. Some people put limits on certain apps and then be locked out of the app for who knows how long they set it for. But I feel like the best way to do that is just to find new activities and have the mindset to just try new things. Because like I mentioned, I don't like sports, but like I'm trying it because I don't want to be on my phone for too long. But yeah.
May I say a hot take, David?
Yeah, go for it.
Pickleball is not a real sport.
To me, sports are weird anyway. Like I'm just saying, like football, you guys are tackling each other over a ball.
In this day and age when everyone tends to live on their phones, it is important that we make real world connections too, because the friends that you may have online, sure, it's great to have friends that live far away and stuff like that, but it's also really nice to get out and socialize with people. It's good, it's healthy to be able to sit next to someone, hear their voice, instead of just receiving a notification of, oh, so and so, blah blah blah.
One of the more depressing things I see in society today, because when I go to campus during the fall and winter semester, I go on a bus, and people are on the bus, but they're always on their phones, and like they're not engaged in the real world, and it's depressing because back in the day when people didn't have like phones and whatnot, people would be more willing to talk to you on the bus because they didn't really have any other way to entertain themselves. Sure, you could probably read a book or a newspaper, but that can only take you so far. But it was just easier to make a genuine connection. And sometimes when I talk to people on the bus, it can go one or two ways. One, I have a good conversation with them, and it honestly feels good to have a conversation with someone on the bus because you get to learn about like their side of life and what they're going through and whatnot. But then I also see the other side where I just have like a little conversation with someone. Then when we run out things to say or they're just not interested in talking, they just go straight back to their phones like that. That I feel like that just makes me sad because it shows how reliant we have become on our phones to take us into different areas of life. And because of that, we miss the chance to make a genuine connection with people around us and make a new friend. I mean, you never know who you never know who you meet on the bus that will become your best friend or someone who will stick up for you. Like when you're on your phone, on the bus, just not bothering to talk to people, you're definitely going to miss that for sure. And don't be afraid to go ask a friend out to eat dinner or just hang out. If you stay stuck in the digital world, you'll never know what's out there, what's real. you will just be missing out on everything. And that is a bleak future for anyone.
I gotta say, I'm half a hypocrite on that about the bus, only because I tend to. It's not that I'm on my phone on the bus. It's that it's more like that when people try and talk to me, I can be social, but sometimes I just don't want to be. And whenever I'm the bus, I'm not looking at my phone. I'm usually just looking out the window, because I just like, simplicity. Just looking out at nature, just looking out at the window, and not even be on my phone. But like whenever somebody talks to me and I don't want to talk, I don't end the conversation, then just start being on my phone. I end the conversation, just look out the window. So with that statement of yours, I'm half guilty, okay? Half guilty. Just the half that I'm not guilty of is the phone part. But I do think that like in today's world, we should make more connections and not be afraid of each other. We should at least make acquaintanceship. Like the first person you see on the bus, may not be your best friend, but it's up to the two of you if you want to develop that friendship, because you always start just like in high school, just like in college, just like in your job or anywhere that you make friends. You always start with acquaintanceship. You don't trust them, but like you do talk to them. The trust part comes later.
So to wrap up our show today, I would recommend that after you watch our show, to go call a family member or a friend and tell them, I want to hang out with you. You want to go to the pool, or do you want to eat at a burger joint? And get away from the screen and go actually interact with the real world and make real connections. I mean, that's what we're going to do, right, guys?
No.
I know you're thinking to yourselves, our podcast room looks different. That's because we have changed our location from UVU to BYU. No rivalry intended. But this is where we'll be for the next couple of episodes. And I'd like to thank all of you for tuning into our episodes. As always, make sure to comment below on what topics you want us to cover. And remember to keep tuning into our episodes, because they get better every week. And they get bigger and better. And so with that, I'd like to say farewell to everyone, and stay tuned for our next episode.